Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Roberts, and I'm really excited to read some of a story of mine for you here today. The story is called Sour Milk Girls, and it originally appeared in Clarksworld Magazine in January 2018. And I picked this story because it's available free online. So if you want to see what happens after the part that I read, you're welcome to do that. And also just because it's a fun science fiction story that deals with memory and relationships and not romantic, but just general relationships between people. And it's just a fave of mine. And I'm sitting right now virtually in front of a piece of art that I actually commissioned from an artist that depicts Ghost, the main character from the story. So I'm getting in the spirit, and I'm excited to read to you for about 10 to 15 minutes, and hopefully you enjoy. So without further ado, here is the opening of Sour Milk Girls. The new girl showed up to the agency on a Sunday, looking like an old dish rag and smelling like sour milk. Not that I could really smell her from 3 floors up through the mesh and bars, but there's only 3 types of girls here, and she was definitely the sour milk kind. Her head hung down like it was too much work to raise it, and her long black hair flopped around so you couldn't see her face. I'd have bet a week's credit she had big old scaredy cat eyes, but she never bothered to look up. Just let Miss Miranda lead her by the elbow through the front doors. Didn't even try to run. Sour milk all the way. Even sour milk new girls were good, though. Anything new was good. The last one, Hope, might have been as dull as old paint, but at least she'd been something different to talk about. I'd even won a day's credits from Flash by betting the girl wouldn't make it to 14 without some foster trying her out and keeping her. Anyone could tell Hope smelled like cinnamon and honey, same as those babies on the first floor and the second floor girls with their pigtails and missing tooth smiles. Sure enough, only took 6 months before the Reynolds came and took Hope off to their nice house with the big beds and the white fence and those stupid yapping dogs, leaving just me and Whispers and Flash to stare at each other and count all the months and years till we'd finally turn 18. Flash should have known it would go that way. Cinnamon and honey's something Fosters can't resist. Whispers said this new girl was officially called Brenda, but that was just as stupid as all the other agency names, and the girl wouldn't remember it after processing anyway. At first I said we should call her Dish Rag or Milk Breath, but even Flash thought that was too mean, and Flash is as nasty as hot sauce and lye. She's the one who named me Ghost, on account of I'm small and shadow dark, and she thinks I creep around too much in the night. She got her name because that's how fast Fosters send her back after their cat turns up dead, and they realize the devil has blonde hair and dimples. What's in her file? I asked Whispers, who was still leaned up against the wall by the window. She never bothered to look out anymore, not even for new girls. I'm just supposed to clean the office, she said. Files are confidential. Must be good if you're holding back, said Flash, blowing out air as she tried to whistle. Maybe, Whisper said, with a lopsided shrug. Then she murmured something nobody could hear while staring down at her shoes. That meant we weren't getting any more from her for at least an hour, not even if Flash threatened to throw her out the window or hang her with the sheets from one of the empty beds. No use pushing her till she started banshee screaming, so Flash just practiced whistling, and I played around some with our crap computers, and we let Whispers go all sour milk and talk to her invisible friends. By the time Flash got a half whistle, half spit sound to come out of her mouth, and I'd finished up my hack of the first floor baby cams for when things got boring, new girl was being led off the elevator by Miss Miranda, head still down. Flash and I lined up in front of the room, same as always, hands behind our backs, chests up and out, heads forward, eyes wide. Even Whispers came out of her murmuring and straightened up against the wall. Agency folks didn't care about much as far as us third floors were concerned, but they were total nuts for protocol. Miss Miranda started by doing her normal speech introduction. This is Brenda. She's 15 years old, and she's going to stay with us for a while. These are the girls. They're all trying to get new homes, too, and We just know it'll work out for you all any day now. When she said that last bit, her voice always got real high, like someone talking after they took a gulp of air from a circus balloon. We ask you to stay on the third floor when you're in the building unless you're doing chores downstairs or get called to the office, but don't worry, there's so much to do up here, you won't even notice. Her voice went even higher for that part, because even an idiot could see there wasn't anything on the floor except 20 empty beds, two large, long white lunch tables, a couple of old computers on splintery desks covered with the names of old third floors, and the door to the world's grimiest bathroom. As long as you maintain good grades and proper behavior in school, you're free to come and go as you please until 7 p.m. curfew. You'll get a few credits each day for transit and meals. If you need additional learning help or assistance with your homework, the computers in the back row have plenty to offer. Age-appropriate stuff only, of course. She looked straight at me when she said it, like it was my fault the security on the things was shit, and I'd figured out a way to order vapes and liquor pops and get R-rated videos. Now you girls get along and try not to kill each other. She looked at Flash for that one, even though Flash hadn't really tried to kill anyone for at least a year. She barely even talked to Hope. Either she was getting soft now, or that we were in high school, or she was going to burn the whole place down someday. Maybe both. As soon as she got the last words out of her mouth, Miss Miranda spun around on her high heels and got out of there as fast as she could. I thought the new girl would fall over as soon as Miss Miranda left, but she put her hands behind her back and stuck her chest out, same as the rest of us. Her eyes weren't nearly as scaredy-cat as I thought they'd be. She smelled like sour milk for sure, but hot sauce and honey a little bit too. I'm Brenda, she said. Brendan Evans. That's a stupid name, said Flash. It's what my daddy called me, said New Girl, thrusting her chest out even more, like it would cover the way her voice got all wobbly. Yeah? Well, where's your daddy now? Flash asked. The new girl's head dropped forward. We hadn't made a bet on whether someone could make her cry, but there were some things Flash would do for free. She doesn't remember, I told Flash. You know that. I remember fine, said the new girl. It's just that it just happened. He just died, I mean. Flash rolled her eyes. No way you remember that shit, she said. Not anymore. She put on her best Miss Miranda impression, high-pitched and piercing. Your memories of your time before joining the agency are held for safekeeping until you reach adulthood and can properly integrate them into your daily life. What are you talking about? New Girl said. I remember my dad. He was a... Spare me the bullshit, Flash said, voice back low. Miss Miranda tell you how in your file it says your daddy was a famous wrecker or a Wall Street corp or a doctor? But if you looked in the grams she took from you, you'd find out he left you chained up in the basement, or he liked to beat on your mama. Or maybe you ain't never had no daddy at all. I felt my eyes get hot, just a little, but New Girl didn't blink. My daddy was a good man, she said. Not my fault if yours wasn't worth shit. I backed up 2 steps so as not to get hit when the fist started flying. A fight was going to mean discipline and lights out and early curfew for at least 2 weeks. Nothing worse than that and having a black eye. But Flash just laughed. Damn, girl, she said. You got balls. Gonna be hard coming up with a name for you. Your dad won't know any different. I tried to stare some sense into the girl before Flash flipped back to serious and threw her across the room or started working out how to smother her in the middle of the night. Leave his name for him and ours for us. I'm Ghost, she's Flash, that's Whispers. We'll figure something out for you. It took 2 weeks, but in the end, we called her Princess. Flash said it was from some fairy tale book she'd read as a little kid, but I'd been to the Reynolds for a tryout, same as she had, and Princess was the name of the dumb fat poodle they all fed under the table. Plus, Flash said it like a curse, with a sparkle in her eye that any idiot could tell meant trouble. I told Princess not to worry, though. I'd watch her back. Not sure why, maybe because if Princess turned up dead, it was back to just Whispers and Flash to talk to. Maybe because I used to be a bit of a sour milk girl, too. Me and Princess almost pinky swore on the whole thing, but I told her that was just for little kids and losers. Even if you were too poor to get wired up soon as you turned 14 so you could swap grams of every stupid thing you did with your besties in the school cafeteria, anyone could put together the credits for a memory share at one of the public booths. Sure, all the MEMCOR signs said with adult supervision only, because fooling around in your head like that could mess you up while your brain was still growing, but I just told the guy at the front we were over 18 and gave him a 2 cred tip. And Princess let him look down her shirt a little when he asked to see our pretty little smiles. We got hooked up to our chairs in one of the side-by-sides. They were sticky, but it felt like old candy, not blood or anything, so I locked in. I had to show Princess how, but she caught on quick, straps on, headset up, earpieces in. I didn't get into all the memcore does this and your brain cells do that, and then you see the memory clear as it happened to you part, because Princess might have been a little sad looking, but she didn't seem dumb. Your session has begun, said the booth voice, all high or cool, as if Miss Miranda had turned into a robot. I started first, since I knew how to work the thing. Shared my memory of the time I pulled some stupid rich girl's chair out in school, and she fell back, and her legs went one way, and her arms went another, and her mouth made this O shape, and I laughed for about an hour. Princess giggled right along with me, but there was no way to tell how much of that was real and how much was the machine. Easy enough to get swept away in a share without halfway trying. That's all you got, Ghost? She said, when we were finished laughing. Some girl falling over? It's funny. Yeah, but you said we're supposed to be swapping something real. It's a memory booth, dumbass, I said, smiling so she'd know I didn't mean anything like it, by it like Flash would. Of course it's real. And it was, even if I didn't share the part where Miss Miranda found out it made my head ache for a week. I liked Princess fine, but you couldn't give everything to some new girl in one go. Not real like true, she said, rolling her eyes. Real like important. Like my daddy. I'm sick of hearing about your damn daddy all the time. That's because you don't know him the way I did, she said. He was real. And then she shared him with me, one gram after another, the way he half smiled when she walked in the house, how it sounded when he called her Brenda, how she found him dead in his rocking chair and didn't tell anyone for a whole day, even though it started to stink. The public booths were old and ragged, but I could still smell the rotten and taste the tang of garbage in my mouth and feel the pound of her heart, thinking it was the agency every time a car drove by. The whole thing made my eyes sting and my throat itch. Real like that, Princess said, voice all whispery. I just shook my head, no thinking about what my daddy could have looked like and what he might have called me. Need to clear everything out and get back on even ground. Come on, just show me something, she said. And for a second I wished Flash was there, just to tell her to shut the hell up and leave me alone. Maybe next time, I said instead, taking the straps off of my leg clip by clip, telling my hands not to shake. We're out of time anyways. Princess flipped her hair back with her hand, turned her head and looked me straight in the eyes. You think that guy up there is going to mind if we go over? No, I just don't want to share something real, she said, ripping her straps off and throwing her goggles back on the shelf, acting like sour milk and hot sauce had a baby. I get it. You really fucking don't, I said. Me, Flash Whispers, we don't have something real to share. All those cute, sweet memories of being a kid, snatched off us when we got to the agency and locked away where we can't get them. All we know is school and the third floor and a few fosters who couldn't be bothered to keep us. That's it. That's all we fucking got. Princess stared at me for a second, eyes wide, then walked out saying, I didn't know and sorry, under her breath like she was doing a Whispers impression. I stayed for a while, playing back the couple of half-decent memories I did have, like the day I figured out how to get the computers in the back to do what I wanted, like a real hacker, or the time the agency let us go down to the first floor and play with the babies, and then the ones that made my neck shiver, like all the time the foster sent me back because I didn't fit into the smiling family photos. Too old, too dark, too hard to handle. But none of my memories were real the way Princess wanted. They didn't make my blood jump or my hands get all shaky or my mouth go dry. Not even the bad ones. Not the Reynolds dog Butch chasing me around their big house, growling and smelling like death and scaring me more than Flash ever had. Not little Bitsy Reynolds laughing and telling me how I seemed nice enough for a dark girl, but Butch hated who he hated and you couldn't tell a dog any different. Not Mrs. Reynolds looking anywhere but at my face when she brought me back to the agency, telling Miss Miranda she tried, but I didn't know how to fit in and I was riling up the animals and After all, they'd been there first. Not even the day I woke up in the agency with a throbbing skull and a big old hole of nothing in my head, and Miss Miranda telling me I was 8 years old and my parents were dead, but I'd get a new family by the time I turned 10 if I just tried hard enough. Not one goddamn thing. And with that, I'll pause. The story goes on. And like I said, you can read the rest online. Apologies for the curse words. I forgot they were in there. And that's it. So thank you so much for listening. And please, I hope you enjoy. I'm going to cover this for a second so you can just see this lovely picture of Ghost. And I hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.